Hey everybody, it's Chris. I'm back. Back in the homestead. I made it. I even put on a jacket. It is Wednesday, July 24th. Whew, it's been a week. It has been a week. All right. They forgot to put sweetener in that. I want to talk today about Donald Trump because obviously we've talked a lot about Joe Biden. We've talked a lot about Kamala Harris. We're going to talk less about Joe Biden, more about Kamala Harris as we go forward. But I want to talk about Donald Trump for a minute because if you look at since July 27th, so almost a month, it is hard to imagine, politically speaking, things could go much better for Trump. So June 27th is the first debate. Biden bombs the debate. He's horrendous. The next several weeks are consumed with Democrats calling on Biden to drop out, Biden insisting he won't drop out, all of this playing out in public, Biden's poll numbers starting to sink, all of which would be amazing. But then there's an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which he survives with minor injuries. Again, not saying that the assassination attempt was a good thing, but politically, it was amazing, right? You got the image of him saying, fight, 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 in the picture with the flag and the blue sky in the background. And then he has the Republican convention. 4 days of pretty good messaging, with the exception of his speech, which was meandering and terrible. So you would think, and then I forgot to mention, Joe Biden drops out of the race and Kamala Harris gets into the race. Okay, so chaos on the Republican side, unity on the chaos on the Democratic side, unity on the Republican side. So, you could not script the last month better unless Joe Biden stayed in the race for Republicans. Which brings me to where Donald Trump is in polling today. Now, you might think from everything that I just outlined that he'd be ahead by 10 points, right? I mean, again, you could, the Trump campaign, if you asked them, paint your perfect scenario, they wouldn't even imagine to paint a scenario this good. And yet, I looked this morning. Donald Trump's overall approval numbers, post-assassination attempt, post-convention, post-Biden chaos, is 42.5%. His disapproval is 53.5%. It really has not moved a ton. It's moved up slightly, but not moved a ton over the last month. Okay, you say, well, approval rating, fine, but what about head-to-head against Kamala Harris? Also not amazing. There's been 5 or 6 national polls conducted over the last 24 or 48 hours. The biggest lead Trump has over Harris nationally is 3. There's a poll that has him behind by 2, but most polling, including those, basically show that this race, at least at the start, is a statistical dead heat. There was a poll, you say, what about swing states? I got your swing states for you. There was a poll in Georgia released on Tuesday that showed Trump ahead by a single point over Harris. So I think what's important to note here is that Donald Trump remains a very beatable candidate in a general election. Everything has gone right for him over the last month, and yet we are still in a race where it's effectively tied. I might give him a slight edge in terms of the Electoral College at this point over Kamala Harris, but it's not vast. He's not at 400 Electoral College votes. He's not at 55% in the popular vote. And I think that's a function of 2 things. One, we're a polarized country. I've said this before. If you run this poorly sweetened tea against Donald Trump, the tea is probably going to get 47 to 48% of the vote, even if it's just an inanimate object, which it is. So we're polarized. Number 2, Donald Trump just has massive numbers of people who will not vote for him under any circumstances. Now, he has plenty of people who will vote for him under any circumstances too, but there is a big, big number of people who are just going to vote for whoever the other person is. And so I think that it is worth noting that, because in my opinion, if Nikki Haley was the Republican nominee, she would be ahead by a statistically significant margin at this point. If Ron DeSantis was the Republican nominee, he might be ahead by a statistically significant margin. Neither of them carry the negatives with the overall population that Donald Trump does. Again, does that mean that Donald Trump is going to lose his race? It does not. Again, I think he's probably a slight favorite in the race over Kamala Harris, at least today. But it does suggest he has not run away with it, and he is not going to run away with it. I think, just to reiterate, he is beatable. There are significant weaknesses in his ability to reach out to the voters who really matter in this election. I would say suburban women, most especially. So I think we have to keep that in mind. The best month a Republican candidate could possibly imagine. He is still underwater in approval rating, and he is basically tied with Kamala Harris nationally. Tells you everything you need to know. All right, that's all I got for today. Feels good to be home. Slept in my own bed last night. Tanned, rested, and ready. Let's see. 4 things you can do. 1, subscribe to my channel. It's easy. Just hit the subscribe button. We are growing. We grew by 500 subscribers yesterday. Let's grow by another 500 today. 2, like this video. Again, easy. Hit the like button. 3, comment on this video for the community and the algorithm. And number 4, tell 10 friends about this channel. I'm making videos every single day, people. Come on. Let's get behind it. All right, everybody take care. I'm going to go find some sweetener for this bad boy. Be well.